Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing from our sponsor that is not HelloFresh, but HelloFresh, if you're listening, let us know. We'll gladly take you as a sponsor. It's coming. Much like the NHL, though, there's a lot happening in the NBA, and we're just about halfway through, give or take. All-Star games around the corner. So lots happening in a short amount of time. Our no longer perfect basketball guy, Alex, is here to tell us all about it. Alex, take it away.
Yeah. So as James has alluded to, I mentioned it last week, but I've now lost 2 in a row in fantasy basketball. Shout out to Traden's fiance, Kylie, who had an incredible week and beat me this week. Her team has had a huge turnaround, and it's awesome to see. I am still in first place, tied with James. We're both 6-2, and then Traden and Ty are both 3-5.
Gotta win.
You guys got to start picking it up pretty soon here. That's going to be issues.
Yeah.
But moving on, like James said, we're plowing through the NBA season here. It's going crazy quick. And for some reason, they're having an all-star game. Don't know why. Eric kind of alluded to it last week, but we didn't talk about basketball last week, and I feel like we had to talk about it this week. So NBA is still having an all-star game. Voting is out now. Fans can go out and vote. It's being held in Atlanta. And big NBA stars like LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard have pretty much said, this is fucking stupid. Why are we doing this? This is the type of thing that could derail the season. Other stars have come out too and pretty much said, great, it's an honor to be voted an all-star. Why are we all traveling? It's pretty much breaking protocol, and they're all coming together in Atlanta. So Traden, you were kind of tasked to talk about this. What are your thoughts on these stars making these comments? And then what are just your personal thoughts on an all-star weekend festivity?
Look, the NBA is kind of has pretty much been, has one of probably the most outspoken, players, or I guess you could say employees of any sport, of any of the top 4 anyway. I mean, they do speak their mind, and they're encouraged to. And I appreciate that. I mean, I may take exception to some things that are said or whatever, but who doesn't? I mean, that's just part of it. But they have every right to, if they're given the right in the platform, they have every right. And they have every right here. I mean, they have some good points, and I'll answer the second question. I think that I don't have any idea why they're doing this. I mean, it seems absolutely stupid to break protocol, to shift around of things. There's so much logistics surrounding it that it's not worth it. And I know it's for the kids, and I appreciate that. That's what all-star games are for, right? They're for the kids. They're to showcase the league's best in other things, and it's just for this type of season, it's not worth it. Especially when with COVID being such a big issue, if you ruin that, you ruin the whole season, and it's completely over. It's not just a one team thing. This is the entire the bigs of each team coming together. So I don't think that this is a fantastic idea either. However, I do have a good idea, kind of similar to what the NBFL did. I think this is how they should do it. They continue doing the voting. You vote for the all-stars, but because I still think that a break needs to be had. Like give them 5 to 7 day break. Like just let them just chill with their families, chill at home, just relax, because this season has been just absolutely bad shit. You need to pump the brakes a little bit in the middle of the season. So here's how you do it. You vote for the all-stars, and I'm pretty sure I've never played NBA 2K, but I'm pretty sure you can play as one player. And I think that LeBron plays as LeBron. Steph plays as Steph, and they play 5-on-5 like NBA, and they're passing to each other, shooting right at their own homes. They have the Zoom going so that fans can be engaged. You don't have any issues with COVID, and you can let the engagement between the fans and the players kind of still be there in some way. But don't bring them all to one spot. Just don't bring them all to one spot on Zoom. The people can be involved with that. I think that's what they should do. I think I would even maybe tune in on that if I could see Steph talk shit to, I don't know, whoever's on the other side, whatever. I think you can still have that without dealing with the COVID issues.
Okay, James, I know you were not you talk mad shit about the NFL Pro Bowl and how they played Madden or whatever. Do you now hate Trey's idea because it's pretty much the same thing?
No.
So you like it better in basketball, but you didn't like it in football. Okay.
Correct. Main reason being is that he made a good point that each player can play as himself. In the NFL, in Madden, like you can have an offensive lineman do what? Like he's going to be himself, but he's going to stand there? Like, you do absolutely nothing as an offensive lineman playing Madden. But on the NBA side, that'd be pretty fun to see. Seeing how competitive these guys play a lot of 2K anyway. The main point of contention there is going to be a lot of unhappy players when they see the ratings, because not everybody is going to be 99, but everybody who's in the All-Star game thinks they should be 99, but they're not. There's going to be like what, 2 players who are 99? It's probably going to be LeBron and somebody else. Like people are going to be pissed, and it's going to show in their gameplay because it's 2K, man. It's a game. Like if you're going to be the better ratings wise, if you're better, you're going to dominate like the other person you're playing. In real life, there's always that theory of chance. In the game, not so much. But I still think it's fantastic. It's a good way to get people together. It'd be fun to watch. I put down bets for that. That's cool.
Yeah, there's the revenue driver right there. You bet on everything.
Dude, that's true. Now that you're saying that, Traden, I feel like the best part about the NBA All-Star game is stupid. Like, let's be completely honest. Even non-COVID, there's zero defense. The score's like 195 to 190. It's stupid. The dunk contest, on the other hand, fire. They could easily do a dunk contest over Zoom. It's just one guy. I would love to see Alex Caruso as part of a dunk contest.
Yes.
Like, how great would that be? So every player just picks the most, or every team picks the most unlikely player. All 30 teams have a dunk contest participant.
I love that too.
I'd watch that in a heartbeat.
I like that idea. Like showcase the players that don't go to the NBA, and for doing I love that.
Okay. NBA, I hope you're listening.
Hold up real fast. Instead of picking the person who like doesn't really look that athletic, I think they should have a contest to see who has like given most back to the community, and then that person gets to be in the dunk contest.
I like that too.
So that way some good comes out of it.
Yeah, I like that too. Kind of like the Walter Payton Man of the Year, but
exactly.
Blah blah blah. Dunk of the year. Done. we figured out the NBA All-Star Weekend, boys.
Man.
Okay, moving on. So we're halfway through the season. MVP talks have kind of been brought up. I'd say there's probably 3 or 4 kind of headliners: LeBron, Jokic, Joel Embiid, Kawhi, maybe. Someone we're not talking about that much. I mean, we have talked about him, but the NBA he's not given a whole bunch of love. Steph Curry. And if you look at his numbers are almost identical to when he won back-to-back MVPs in the mid-2010s. Granted, his teams were elite. He had elite company. He doesn't have that now. I mean, he has Draymond. He has Wiggins. He has Oubre, who I've continually shit on this podcast.
Bro, he put up 40 the other night. You see that?
Dude. I TLDR bump. I'm just saying. Like, so this was supposed to be kind of Eric's thing, but I'm gonna let all the boys talk about it. Is because the Warriors are in 8th place in the West, they're probably not gonna crack the top 6, I would imagine, in the Western Conference. Does Steph deserve some more love in this like kind of mid-season MVP conversation?
Absolutely. First. Oh, never mind.
Sorry. You guys were all nodding.
Yeah, well, 100% he does. And this goes to, the age-old debate of like, what does valuable mean, right? And typically, especially in the NBA, it goes to like the best player on the best team. And I think in some cases, like that should not always happen. I think Steph Curry is very valuable to this Warriors team. Without Curry, this Warriors team would be a lottery pick team. Like they would be horrible. Just some stats to back that up. The Warriors' point differential with Curry on the floor is plus 66, which is ninth in the league. And they are minus 33 without. Their offensive rating is 112.5 with Curry on the floor. And without him, it's 99.7, which is 5 points fewer than the league's worst offense. So that's value right there. I mean, how it doesn't get much, better than that. I mean, the fact is, this team isn't the best team in the Western Conference, but they are a playoff team. I think there's a very real shot that they will make the playoffs. And Curry's going to be 100% the reason why they do. I think he is the most valuable player in a contending team than any other player. I think there's a lot of players that are still valuable, but in terms of just the difference of with or without a player, I mean, Curry's got to be the guy. And Alex, as you mentioned, his numbers are pretty much identical to when he did win MVPs. I think Steph Curry deserves not only a nod, but I think honestly is probably the front runner right now.
Wow. James, I cut you off. What are your thoughts?
The biggest problem I have with the MVP award is that it looks at offensive numbers and just offensive numbers. That's it. Nothing else. Most valuable player means, yeah, you're good at offense and you're good at defense, but you're also a leader on your team. And that's what Steph exemplifies the most. Have you ever heard of somebody saying like, hey man, I hated Steph as a teammate? No. Nobody's ever said that. That probably has never been spoken ever in the world. Like, Steph is a good guy. You see it on the court, you see it off the court. He's all smiles all the time, and he makes good plays. Like, what is the most unselfish play in basketball? Anybody? Wrong. It's setting a screen. Mm-hmm. Setting a screen is the most unselfish thing. It doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Like, you don't know. Nobody ever knows if you set a screen if you don't watch the game. And more often than not, the ball doesn't go to you. You flip somebody else that makes a shot or gets open. And Steph does that. He's a superstar, and he's a point guard who's small. He shouldn't really have to do that, but he does that anyway for the betterment of his team and because it's part of the offense. That's what Steph is all about. He's all about making his team better. And yeah, his stats on the offensive side show that he's elite too. But the fact of the matter is you can have some scrub guy coming off the bench sitting at the three-point line or cherry picking the entire time, and he's going to have great offensive stats. If he doesn't play the defense, he's going to be sitting on the other side and make 100% of the shots and maybe score 40 points a game. Doesn't mean he's the MVP. You have to look at more than just offensive numbers if you want to look at the MVP, and Steph exemplifies that the most.
I like that. Traden, any thoughts real quick on?
Yeah, it's really tough to follow these two, Tyler and James, because they pretty much nailed it. But I to James's point, I mean, yeah, he exemplifies the leadership style that, is the biggest thing for me. I mean, let's look at let's look at two players in particular that are kind of wowing us right now, or wowing me anyway. Oubre. I'm not saying that Steph's necessarily making him shoot better or play better, but he's here, Curry's here, and Oubre's actually playing pretty damn well. And I think, Alex, you can admit that. Like, you had some issues with him early, but he's playing pretty damn well right now. Puts up 40 points the other day. Fantastic. And I think Draymond Green's playing pretty good basketball right now. I mean, he's being effective. He's able to have that kind of, engagement with Steph. I think to James's point, you're right. I think that Steph's a big part of that. So, I mean, I'm with you, Tyler. He's front runner for me.
Dang. Okay, James. One last thing.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the Warriors as a whole and them making playoffs and their success. They're doing pretty good right now, and they're doing it without any bigs. Their biggest guy is Draymond Green. James Wiseman has been out for a long time with a wrist sprain or something. And their other guy, I forget his name, but he's a pretty integral part. He's also out. So they're down two big men. They play with a small lineup each and every day with Draymond at the 5, and they're still doing relatively well. So that tells you that once James Wiseman gets back, because, dude, James Wiseman as a rookie, not even as a rookie, James Wiseman as an NBA player is good. So when he gets back out there, they're going to be a little bit of a different team and a more complete team. So I see more success in their future.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say Steph is the front runner right now. I probably have to give it to Joel Embiid. He's probably the most complete offensive and defensive player right now. And as Tyler mentioned, the voting the Sixers are in first place in the East, and he's had a great year. So, but Steph, top 5 MVP voting for sure right now. And Tyler, you're also right. If it's without Steph, this Warriors team is terrible. I mean, they didn't have him last year, and they had the number 2 overall pick. So, like, boom, done. Argument done. Steph Curry's amazing. Love that dude. He's probably also one of the most likable players in the NBA.
Easy.
Like, even when they're winning all the time, you're kind of like, okay, KD's kind of a little bitch for joining this team. But, like, dude, you love Steph. Like, the shimmy, the smile. What a guy. Moving on to a team that's been disappointing, I would say, the New Orleans Pelicans. So Brandon Ingram gets traded. They trade Anthony Davis. They bring in all these guys from Lakers. Brandon Ingram has an amazing year last year. They bring in Zion. They have all these guys. The Pelicans were like a dark horse, kind of. They could be like a 6 seed coming out of the West this year. They're currently a 12 seed. They're 4 games under 500. Tyler, what has gone wrong with the Pelicans, and what do they need to do to change it? Or is it time to blow it up again and start out to try again?
So I think the number one thing that's wrong with the Pelicans is their turnover rate. They're just not a very high IQ basketball team right now. They're making very, very dumb plays with the ball. They're turning the ball over 16.1% of their possessions, which is actually worse than last year. So that to me is the biggest issue. And for me, they have Zion, who's a stud, but I think there is too much stock in this guy kind of carrying this team to the next level. I don't think there's enough around him yet to be able to support Zion. Brandon Ingram. I mean, he had a great year last year. He got off to a good start, but since then hasn't been that great. He's one of the number one culprits of turning the ball over. Lonzo Ball. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, I don't think there's enough supporting cast around here for Zion, and Zion is still young too. I don't think he's reached his full potential. I think this team as a whole is too young, and they're just not ready. They're not even close to contention. For me personally, I never thought this team was legit, just because of their youth, and there's just not enough there yet, especially in this Western Conference that is so stacked. There's so many great teams in this conference. I mean, they're just being overmatched and overplayed every single possession. This team has a long way to go. They got to be way more. They have to be smarter with the ball. And that's just going to come with experience, and it's going to come with development. And they need to add way more veteran presence. I mean, they're too young. They just don't have what it takes to be that upper tier of postseason basketball right now. Not even close.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, there already been trade rumors. JJ Redick possibly going to, kind of the one veteran guy on that team, other than Steven Adams, getting traded to one of the New York teams. Lonzo Ball's been rumored to go to the Clippers, which would be really weird.
Wow.
After starting in LA, going to New Orleans, coming back to LA. Yeah, I agree with you. There are still, even Brandon Ingram, he's been in the league for 5 years, but I think he's 23. He's, everyone on that team, they got a lot of growing up to do. I think Zion's maybe 21. They are very young. I'm not saying I didn't, as my kind of predictions came out at the beginning of the season, I didn't think the Pelicans were a title contender by any means, but I thought they'd at least be fighting for a playoff spot. I'm pretty disappointed in them. I think they can be better, but yeah, they've got some growing up to do. Look at them 2 or 3 years down the road, and we'll see what they're looking like. Last topic, we're moving over to the Eastern Conference. The New York Knickerbockers, speaking of players with dark horse MVP candidates, former Laker Julius Randle, dark horse MVP candidate. To put it in perspective, the Knicks are a half a game behind the Pacers and the Celtics. Half a game. The Celtics should be legitimate title contenders, and the Knicks are a half a game behind them. And they're getting reinforcements, in a true vet in Derrick Rose. He's going back to New York. So, James, you and I have talked about the Knicks quite a bit on this podcast so far. What can D Rose bring to the Knicks coming back for a second stint there?
A lot. And I mean a lot. I think this trade signifies their push to make the playoffs and to do well in the playoffs. I mean, there's no other reason why you bring a 32-year-old injury-riddled Derrick Rose to a team of youngins. He's taking away time from somebody who needs to develop, and the reason being is because he's in there to produce and help them win games to put them in the playoffs. And I talked about this with Steph Curry and leadership. Derrick Rose is a leader through and through. He's been there. He's done that. He's done pretty much everything. He's been through a lot of injuries, man. Like, he's fought adversity. He's wrestled with the idea of retiring because he's never going to get healthy, but came out on the other side and has a renewed and invigorated love for the game. That tells you all you need to know about this guy. Like, he knows how to lead a team. He knows how to lead himself. And a lot of leaders need to learn how to lead themselves before they can lead everybody else. And he's done that. And you've seen it throughout the years. Like he was the youngest MVP winner of ever at 22 years old. He won the MVP with the Bulls. Like he's a damn good player. Unfortunately, the card just did not fell the way he wanted it to with the injuries. And the last couple of years though, he's been really good. This season especially, he's good for 25 minutes off the bench. And he's good for 20 points and like 6 assists per game. That's huge reinforcements right there. Like I said before, he's taken away time from people who need development, and that's because he can produce. Secondly, like he's played with Tom Thibodeau before, and they did well with the Bulls when he played for him. He's the kind of guy that can be a coach on the floor and help you through tough moments. And I think his coming to New York couldn't have come at a better time. Mitchell Robinson is out for an extended period of time now due to a fracture, and he was a big part of that team. He was a big leader. Derrick Rose can get in there and step in right away and help them through this storm. He's going to help them lead. He's going to lead through the injury and hopefully continue to lead throughout this playoff push. And I think it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anyone thinking this is 22-year-old Derrick Rose is mistaken. I mean, he's not the guy who won the MVP. Too many injuries to his knees. And he's, one of the most unfortunate injury-riddled players in NBA history. I mean, for a time there, it was Derrick Rose or LeBron. Like, it's going to be a battle in the East for a really long time. And unfortunately, just like you said, it just didn't really fall in Derrick Rose's favor. But I agree with 100% of what you just said. He can be a leader on that team. That team is also still very young. And they're going for it. And good for the Knicks. It's good for basketball when the Knicks are a good team. They're kind of like the Cowboys, where they kind of seem to be always bad, but they get talked about a lot because they're in the New York media. And I think the Knicks have a good shot of continuing this success and making the playoffs, which would be cool. I mean, the Knicks have been terrible for forever, at least in like our lifetime. So good for Derrick Rose. Get out of Detroit because the Pistons are just awful, and get a shot to make the playoffs again. But that's all I got for basketball this week. We'll see how this whole all-star thing pans out. NBA, just telling you, dunk contest over Zoom. TLDR boys got to figure it out for you. So
that is probably our best idea ever on this podcast. So I really hope one of us sends it to the NBA because, dude,
if anyone has Adam Silver's email, like, let us know. And we'll get that over to him.
asilver@nba.com.
Or you can send it.
It's gotta be that. It's gotta be that.
Alex, great segment once again. Learned a lot.